So I'm here with Lindsay. Everybody recognizes Lindsay. Lindsay, why don't you tell us what your department is and tell me a little bit about what you do, specifically scouting.
Well, thanks, Tim. I'm in the grower support department. So our job is to help all the growers here at Pride's Corner with technical help, such as diagnostics of diseases, fertility issues, insect pest issues, scouting and monitoring, and also biological control programs.
So scouting, that's an interesting thing. It's not Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, obviously. So what does scouting mean, especially when we're talking about a plant like this right here, which is our Asclepias here, a very important crop here at Pride's Corner?
Scouting is looking closely for insect pests and diseases and looking close to monitor what's going on in the crop, see how your integrated pest management program is really working. That's really the key to a good IPM program, and also tells you what adjustments you need to make in the program. And here with the Asclepias, there's really high pest pressure, especially insect pests like thrips. So we need to really stay on top of our scouting every week to know exactly what our level is so we can see if it's at a threshold where there's going to be crop damage.
And scouting is one of these things, I suppose, that makes it easier for us to catch things earlier so that we don't have to do as much spraying. And talk about that.
Exactly. So the concept is that we detect issues before they turn into a widespread problem. Because here on the nursery, we're growing plants in a monoculture. So if there is an insect or disease and the environmental conditions are right, it could really take over quickly. So if we catch it early on, we can address it with different controls, such as cultural controls, physical controls, chemical controls, or biological controls, and take care of the problem early on. So we still have a really healthy, vigorous plant to sell, and we're also doing it the most environmentally conscious way possible.
Well, that's all great. I think we're going to head out into the field in a little bit. So and we'll talk a little bit more about scouting and what you're looking for. So we were in the propagation house looking at great Asclepias tuberosa down there, but here we are in our finished house with the plants that we're actively selling right now. So tell me, Lindsay, how does your scouting change and what do you have to do to make sure these plants are ready to go for our customers?
So because we're doing such thorough scouting and a great IPM program down in propagation, the material comes to the field nice and healthy, clean, free of insect pests and diseases. So then in this house, we need to just maintain that. But there is higher pest pressure out here in the field, so we're using multiple control strategies. The first one is a physical control. So this house, if you notice, is covered in plastic, but there's also insect screening on it, which prevents thrips from actually entering the house. So we're using that. We're also using a very vigorous biocontrol program. That's our first line of defense with this crop, is preventing insect pests, especially thrips, but also aphids and spider mites, with using natural enemies, which are predators that we release every week. We release millions of them to help suppress any pest populations that might be on this crop. We're also doing intense scouting every week as well to see how our IPM program is working and then make adjustments as needed.
So just to be clear, in a lot of ways what we're doing here is that we're not really spraying this crop. We're using naturally occurring bugs that actually eat the pests, like the thrips that you mentioned, to do our work for us here. Is that right?
Exactly. We're just mimicking what happens in nature. There are predators and parasitoids that are naturally occurring. We're just releasing more of them on this crop here, and they're doing the job for us, really. And then in turn, we don't have to use any pesticides on this crop, which is better for the plants, it's better for us, and of course it's better for the pollinators and the bees, as well as the environment.
And definitely the monarch butterflies that love this plant, and it's part of their life, their whole life system. They can't deal without this. So we do not want to put any type of pesticide on this so it doesn't affect them.